Hi guys, welcome back to episode number 3 of my little mini-series about the internet presented to you by Cafe Robot. Today we are finally going to write some JavaScript. So let's get started. The first thing you have to know is that all of us have a little tool where we can write JavaScript without setting anything else up. So let's assume you are in your browser. There you have a so-called console. And in that console, you can run and write JavaScript. And the way to get to that console is by left-click, inspect, click console, and there we go. And you can test it yourself right now by writing alert, hello, boom, and you see something happening. You can also log something inside of this console by writing console log, hello, and then you see the output in your console. So that is a very easy way to get started and write your first lines of code. So there you go. But now let's look at something a bit more complex. We are now in glitch.com, which is one of my favorite websites to teach coding and to share projects with each other. So please go and check out glitch.com and see all the cool examples and projects that are out there. But today we're going to look at one project that I have created, and the project is there to show you what mouse events are. So what are we looking at? On the right side, we are looking at the actual website. So this is the result of my code that I wrote here. On the left side, you're seeing the HTML, the hypertext markup language. So when you remember that from my previous episodes, you might recognize that in the house, the HTML is how many levels you have in your house and how big your house is. It's the structure. And so if you look at this, we have a body tag, and inside the body tag, there's a headline, which is here. We have a box, another box, and then a link in the bottom. Now, these boxes would be a bit boring by themselves. And now is the cool thing that they can actually do things. So if I click this box, we get an alert. So you might have seen this before when I just showed you how to use the console. And when you click on this one, the color changes. So how did we do this? Let's dig into it. On the left-hand side, you're seeing all the files that I am using for my website. And again, here you should recognize that we have an HTML file, a JavaScript file, and a CSS file. Now we're going to look at the JavaScript file because this is where we want to make the magic, right? And what we're doing here is that we are first grabbing those two components out of our DOM tree. And we are doing this by selecting them by their class names. So if you see these class names, they are the identifiers and the way how we are grabbing the elements out of the DOM. So remember, this is mouse down box. Then we look at the markup, which has the class mouse down box. So everything we do here is saying, hey, please give me this element out of the DOM tree. Now that we have the mouse down box, we are doing something else. We are adding a so-called event listener. And event listeners are a really nice concept and very important for JavaScript. And they are like putting a pair of ears on an element in the DOM. And you can define a lot of different events that you want to listen to. There's a lot to choose from, but for now we're just going to focus on mouse enter, mouse leave, and then also click up here. So yes, we are at mouse enter, and we are saying, so all what this is saying is that if a mouse enters the box, then do something. And what I do here is that I change the background color to pink instead of peach puff, which is a CSS color. And then I'm adding another event listener where I say, if I leave, then go back to the peach path color. So those are the two things that I have defined, and I have defined it in JavaScript. So again, if you remember my previous session, then you will remember that I said that JavaScript can change both HTML and CSS, which is amazing. Now let's look at the last little bit of code we have here. And here we are adding an event listener to the click box. So this is another element of the DOM. It's the top one. And I choose it by choosing an element with the class clickbox, which we have assigned here. And what I'm doing then is, if that clickbox has been clicked, trigger an alert. An alert is the same command we used earlier, which means that there is a box popping up. And that's it. I'm going to post the link to this in the comments so that you can actually have a look yourself. And also don't hesitate to play around, please, because that's where all the fun comes. Okay, that was it for today. See you in the next episode.